Alright, to those out there that are gonna sit there in front and act like they didn't like Phantom Menace when it first dropped, that's a bald-faced lie. If you was around in 99, about 18 to 25, you was loving Phantom Menace. I don't care what you say. Alright, so like I promised, I'm here with the prequel Star Wars review. Phantom Menace came out in 99. I was about 19 or 20 when that dropped. Alright? If YouTube was around back then and I was a critic, this would have been my response to it. Yo, I just checked out Phantom Menace. Yo, Phantom Menace was the illest shit I ever seen, son. Darth Maul was the illest. Yo, the little kid that played Anakin killed it. Yo, Phantom Menace was probably one of the best movies I've ever seen, man. Best Star Wars movie, hands down. Darth Maul was that dude. Yo, Phantom Menace gets an A. So let's jump into it. First and foremost, the best of the prequels is Revenge of the Sith. I think there's few that would dispute with that, okay? Revenge of the Sith is the best of the Star Wars trilogy prequels. A lot of people hate the prequels, and to be honest with you, I don't hate them. Even Phantom Menace, which is considered the worst Star Wars movie ever, I do not hate Phantom Menace. Return of the Jedi dropped in 83, so there was a long gap between Jedi and Phantom Menace. So over the years, it's been rumored, it's been speculation. Is Lucas gonna do a Star Wars film? Is he not? What's the deal? Then finally, 96 or 97, I think it was confirmed. Like, yes, Lucas is working on a new trilogy, a prequel trilogy about Anakin Skywalker, his rise and fall. So everybody just started busting all kind of nerdgasms, like, oh man, we're gonna get another Star Wars trilogy. And then when that first trailer dropped, tell me you didn't bust all kind of nerdgasms. Sit there and tell that lie that you didn't. Everybody was hyped for this movie. Every Star Wars fan was hyped for this film. And when it came out, yeah, it was a crappy film, but because of the anticipation and the hype and all of that, you was just like, yes, but it wasn't as great as everybody thought it was. You was just so happy to see Star Wars on the screen again. At the time, it didn't dawn on everybody how bad of a movie it was until years passed by. And just when I thought Lucas couldn't create another character more annoying than the Ewoks, this happened.
Missa called Jar Jar Binks. Missa, your humble servant.
That won't be necessary.
To this day, I can still watch the Darth Maul lightsaber scenes. That's the only thing I can watch from Phantom Menace. But everything else, including the pod race, nah, I'm good. I don't. Out of all the Star Wars movies, I've probably seen Phantom Menace the least. Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones, once again, at the time, I loved it. And then as time went on, I started to realize, okay, that once again, this movie is not as good as I thought it was. And a big reason for that is Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. That was a big role to fill. I wish Lucas would have went with a more seasoned actor, because the role of Anakin is a very complex role. Like, this is somebody that starts out as a hero. I mean, he starts as a slave, okay, then he becomes a hero, but you can tell he has a dark side to him. He's angry, he's full of anger and rage, but he's still a good person. And then he transitions into being Darth Vader, and you need an actor that can pull off all three phases of that character. And Hayden Christensen played him as a snotty, arrogant brat in Attack of the Clones. Like, I could not stand him in this movie, man. Like, all he did was just whine and complain. You know, it's all Obi-Wan's fault. He's jealous. He's holding me back. Lucas had the balls to try to throw a love story in there. Yeah, Empire Strikes Back, the love story between Han and Leia, it worked because those were two good actors that knew how to pull that off, and I guess they had some on-screen romance also that helped their performances. But when you take an actor as bad as Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman, who was a good actor, but they had no on-screen chemistry, like, they're not once were they believable as a couple. Lawrence Kasdan, who's a famous screenwriter, he actually wrote Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And you can see that because those films have some good writing. Lucas is not Lawrence Kasdan. Well, from my understanding, he tried to get Lawrence Kasdan to come in and write these, but I guess he was doing something else. He just didn't want to get involved. So he said, "Nah, bro, like, these are your movies. This is your story. You tell it." And Lucas probably has some yes men around him that said, "Yeah, George, that's a great script. Hey, what do you guys think about this? Yeah, George, this is great, awesome. Hey, what about this love scene between Anakin and Padme? I think it turned out pretty good. Oh yeah, George, great. All right, yeah." It's terrible. The climax when Dooku goes up against Obi-Wan and Anakin, the whole thing where, well, okay, when this Anakin left to fight Count Dooku and he had the two lightsabers, okay, I thought that was cool for a second. Then he ends up with one, and if you remember, there was a sequence where they were like in the dark, and all you saw was like the light just flashing, like the blue light and the red light. I'm like, Lucas, what were you thinking? Like, that just looks awful. The highlight of Attack of the Clones was the arena scene where all the Jedi showed up. Like, that's the first time we've ever seen a whole bunch of Jedi on screen fighting. In Phantom Menace, we saw the Jedi in a room sitting down talking. In this one, we actually see them get down, they're fighting, and that was the highlight of the film, along with Yoda and Count Dooku. I thought that was a good fight as well. Yeah, Attack of the Clones was pretty bad as well, but I did like it more than Phantom Menace. I could sit through Attack of the Clones more than I can Phantom Menace. So that's out the way now. Revenge of the Sith, which I said is the best of this trilogy. And Revenge of the Sith is Anakin's turn to the dark side. But once again, you need an actor who can pull that off, because from the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, you can see that, okay, this guy's about to turn bad. But I think what have made it more effective is if, you know, it started out as still a likable character. That's the thing. Anakin was never likable. Luke Skywalker was likable. You know, Han Solo was likable. Anakin was not likable from the jump. He was just a snot-nosed brat that you just cannot stand. So by Revenge of the Sith, he's a more mature and older snot-nosed brat that you still halfway don't like. So when he turns to the dark side, it really doesn't affect you because you never really liked his character to begin with. Revenge of the Sith suffered just like Menace and Attack of the Clones because of a lot of the bad acting. The fight with Anakin and Obi-Wan was emotional. Hayden Christensen almost killed the scene. He almost destroyed it because his acting was so bad. Like right before him and Obi-Wan fight, they had that little verbal confrontation. "You turned her against me! You have done that yourself!" Ewan McGregor, you know, I think there were times that Ewan McGregor wanted to pull his hair out because Ewan McGregor actually is pretty good in Revenge of the Sith. I think he stole the show in this movie as far as acting wise. What's his name? The guy that plays Palpatine, Ian McDermott. I say those two are probably the best actors in this prequels because Ian McDermott's turn from Senator Palpatine to Emperor Palpatine, you know, Darth Sidious, I thought was tight. Like, matter of fact, him and Ewan McGregor were the best parts of Revenge of the Sith. Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu. I think they should have did more with this character. Mace Windu was a badass. Mace Windu was like the ultimate like killer Jedi besides Yoda. He's second behind Yoda, so Mace Windu was ill. They really didn't utilize him in the movies that much, man. Like, he did a little something in Attack of the Clones, but that fight he had with Sidious was just hideous. The hideous fight with Sidious. Yeah, Mace Windu I thought could have been used a lot better. Count Dooku I thought was a pretty good performance. He was a good villain. Not as effective as Darth Maul. Like, he didn't have that badassery like Darth Maul had, but I thought he was still an effective villain. Like, Christopher Lee, anything he plays in is going to be on point. Individually, Phantom Menace. Back in 99, back in 99, I gave Phantom Menace an A. In 2017, Phantom Menace now gets a D. Attack of the Clones gets a C minus, okay? Because I can't watch that over Phantom Menace, so I did enjoy that more. So Attack of the Clones gets a C minus. Revenge of the Sith, I did really enjoy Revenge of the Sith. I'll give Revenge of the Sith a B minus. As a whole, I'll give the Star Wars trilogy prequel a C minus. George Lucas, one thing I will say is that he was ambitious with this trilogy because he tried to make it really different. He tried to come with something new and fresh and not try to recycle what he did with the other movies. And I respect him for that. He didn't try to take the cheap way out and the lazy way out and say, okay, well, I'm just going to do what I did with these three, but then just make it more, you know, more modern or whatever. The prequels had none of the heart, none of the soul that the original trilogy had. It was just like it was lifeless almost. The score was the best thing about the prequels, and that's a damn shame when the musical score is the best thing about the movie. John Williams is definitely the MVP of this trilogy, even though it's bad. So next, I'm going to be reviewing The Force Awakens. Excited for that, and Last Jedi is coming soon. Pumped for that one. So what did you guys think about the prequels? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What did you like, dislike about it? Comment below, comment freely. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching. This is Rashad G signing out. See you in the next video.